Against the unending mists and unseen terrors of the ethereal plane, the radiant citadel stands bright as a bastion of hope. It's a living relic of ingenuity and collaboration of 27 great civilizations. Abandoned and lost for ages, the citadel was resurrected from its slumber and reclaimed by descendants of those societies. Though some people remain missing, the city serves as a nexus of diplomacy and trade, a repository of histories and secrets, and a thriving sanctuary for those seeking safety or a better life. Welcome to the Radiant Citadel, and the Familiar Evils channel, where we will be going on a journey of understanding and reviewing the contents of Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel by Wizards of the Coast and their diverse, multi-ethnic team of writers. If you are a player and will be participating in these adventures, I warn now that there will be all of the spoilers in this series, though this introduction will only be going over the first chapters, of which contain the book overview and the city of the Radiant Citadel. Without further ado, let's get started. In the far reaches of the deep ethereal plane resides the Radiant Citadel, an ancient city to which is bound 15 civilizations who run and populate it. These civilizations represent an expansive and eclectic ensemble of rich cultures and their stories. In it, you can expect a series of 13 short adventures designed for 4 to 6 player characters, ranging in levels from 1 to 14, each chapter of which contains a comprehensive gazetteer on its location and setting, as well as 1 new item and 16 fresh monsters. Do not, however, feel restricted to using these locations and adventures purely within their setting. They are each fully capable of being repurposed for locations and quests within any published setting or homebrew world. So what all is the Radiant Citadel? Whether discovering it from delving deep within the ethereal or entering through more standard means, the Citadel appears as an architectural marvel, a floating city with a massive crystal known as the Auroral Diamond, centered within an ancient fossilized behemoth which encircles it as though grasping for its life-giving radiance. Around the Auroral Diamond floats 15 structure-sized gemstones known as the Concord Jewels. These Concord Jewels provide transportation to many homes of the Citadel's founding civilizations. The Radiant Citadel stands as a beacon of equal footing for the greatest heroes to the poorest paupers, where great need is met with great aid. Though they have no standing army, contingency plans are in place, and the Citadel is protected by a powerful ward, which can be activated by those who lead the city. The gorgeous city, sprawling with vegetation and wonderful locations, is an exceptional repository for the oral tradition of storytelling, which preserves the wisdom and histories of many worlds. Within, you can meet an entire array of diverse ethnicities of humans, dragonborns, dwarves, elves, gnomes, and halflings, along with many other wonderful races. From the diamond comes everything, but much about it still rests in mystery. So what do we know about it and the city which surrounds it? Within the heart of the Radiant Citadel rests the Gargantuan Gemstone, its hues ever-shifting in random intervals. The indestructible kaleidoscopic wonder known as the Auroral Diamond contains fathomless depths of life-giving energy, from which the whole city basks within and makes use of, leaving it a lush oasis of resplendent vegetation. Within the Auroral Diamond itself is the preserve of the ancestors, which we will learn more about later. Speculation abounds over the mysterious artifact. Perhaps its randomly shifting hues represents the birth of a nation, or maybe it is a countdown to something more ominous. No one yet knows the true nature of the Auroral Diamond, but if speculation and information is what you are seeking, you can find such things to the southern end of the city in the Court of Whispers. Heralds and criers, bards and griots barter for knowledge, while spies, scouts, and freelancers hired by mysterious parties or the speakers of the ancestors dig for secrets and clues within the quiet outdoor and indoor alcoves. All kinds of information can be discovered and bought within the court. The speakers listen for news of their homelands, while peacekeepers such as the shield bearers seek clues to help solve and prevent arising conflicts. Even common folk do business here, searching for missing loved ones, family, and treasure. All the intrigue and problems seeking solutions within the court makes it a perfect location for adventurers on the hunt for work or mysteries of their own to solve. However, powerful organizations from across the plains can sometimes be found here, be it a group from your homebrew campaign worlds or those you know from the published settings such as Harper's of Toril the Fraternity of Order from Sigil, or other strange and possibly nefarious individuals around the realms. Though the city is a beacon of hope and prosperity, conflicts do arise within its many worlds. People grow sick, are injured, or find themselves in times of desperation. Death and despair are strangers to no one. But in times of need, the House of Convalescence stands as a respite, and an oasis where priests and healers channel the life-giving succor of the Auroral Diamond. Most who come here do so to assist those sick, injured, and desperate, working hard to preserve a future worth striving for. Players will rejoice to know that the House of Convalescence's life-giving magic's potency maximizes all healing within its halls and removes the need for material requirements for any resurrection-based spell, from the lowliest Revivify all the way to a true resurrection. Philosophers, however, say that in life all things are defined not simply by their own nature, but by the juxtaposition to their opposite. Good begets evil, light begets darkness, and from life comes death. And from around the shining city of the Radiant Citadel looms the howling ethereal cyclone of the keening gloom. An enormous torrent of churning winds, the gloom's howls pierced the souls and hearts of those adventurers who rediscovered the city with terror, drawing many in to be never seen again. Little is known of the monstrosity that encircles this beacon of hope. Its walls closing in ever nearer during times of turmoil leaves some fearing that it may not remain held at bay forever. Its howling maw once more claiming this bastion of life and light for itself. But hope still abounds within the great glimmering city. What great deeds are worth performing if not for the threats of failure? What despairing voids do not leave a thread of light to cling to? The Palace of Exile, named in honor of its founder Socorro the Exile, who along with the refugees of conflict built this respite as a house for the sick, wounded, and needy, arriving to their city, caring for all, whether it be physically, mentally, and or emotionally. Socorro chose among the most beautiful complexes within the city for the Palace of Exile, swearing that for as long as his lands were occupied, he too would remain within the palace as an exile, making it his home alongside all those who have nowhere else to turn. The Shield Bearers, a dedicated group of search and rescue forces, make headquarters within the palace. For where there is need, the Shield Bearers are there to help. Cut into the very heart of the Auroral Diamond is the lush domed wilderness of the Preserve of the Ancestors, where vegetation grows straight out from. Within one can find all sorts of life, such as birds, insects, and hares, as well as jackalberry trees and zebrawood. Druids often bring injured animals to the preserve to nurture and heal them. Those animals that no longer can survive on their own are kept here under the care of those druids, leaving an eclectic menagerie of unique and rare creatures from many different worlds. Spirits from many lands are drawn here by the Auroral Diamond, where they can coalesce into incarnates, which are tiny jewels assembled into animal-like amalgamations. The greatest of these spirits become almost mythical entities, which harbor ages of wisdom and represent some of the Citadel's founding civilizations. Along the snaking road which encircles the Auroral Diamond is the Trade Discal, a massive marketplace which facilitates the trade between fellow nations. Great amounts of material goods and livestock frequently pass through, making use of the Concord jewels to transport between each connected civilization. This makes the Discal a fundamental asset, which, if impacted, would send shockwaves through both the Radiant Citadel and its dependent nations. Because of its importance and the large amounts of flowing gold, many adventurers can find work here in protecting the transport of these goods, or even negotiate on the behalf of large trading companies and governments. The Concord jewels, which drift just beyond the Citadel, are building-sized vessels, which can contain and transport hundreds of people and tons of goods. Though they can take varying shapes and forms, the jewels each have a cylindrical core for holding and containing goods, around which is situated seating for passengers. The jewels are able to unerringly travel to and from the Radiant Citadel to their homelands, even if the jewels' peoples have moved to another world on the material plane, making its way to whatever land is their current home. The book contains 15 of these jewels in a table, their civilizations and their jewel type, leaving any additional jewels up to the DM to flesh out if they so desire. At the center of a Concord jewel is the controls, where a claviger, one of a dozen individuals assigned to their jewel by a speaker, operates the transit of the structure. It is possible to control a Concord jewel by making an Arcana check. directing them in a series of possible actions upon a success, whether landing, embarking, or plane shifting. Clavigers, though, maintain an array of positions and responsibilities, such as ambassadors, and some often move on to becoming speakers of the ancestors. The Radiant Citadel is a hodgepodge of many different people, coming and going in an ebb and flow over the years. Their customs, values, culture, and art becoming an ever-shifting and evolving tapestry of both new ideas and ancient traditions. Relations shift as well within the Citadel, which is used for its safety and diplomacy, some even going so far as to stage incursions against their home government from its relative protection. Nefarious foreign actors have also been known to attempt levying influence and power over the Citadel, both overtly and covertly. The Citadel is governed by a council known as the Speakers of the Ancestors, who, chosen by their peoples and then affirmed by the ancient and wise Dawn Incarnates, and the enforcement of their laws are performed by highly trained local guards when the rare instances of violence occur, and detain culprits through non-lethal methods. Though controversial, the Citadel also occasionally does make use of a punishment which subjects the culprit to a ritual that prevents them from being able to repeat their crime and then banishes them from the city. As a society that is relatively egalitarian, the Radiant Citadel guarantees that those within their population are taken care of, from living spaces to food and medicinal care, and is funded by gifts, tolls, and tariffs. Groups within the Citadel include the Incarnates, spirits bound within gemstones whom are keepers of vast wisdom from many lands. Most of these nature spirits are small, which take on the shape of a plant or an animal. But the largest and most influential are the Dawn Incarnates, who stand dozens of feet tall and are made of thousands of smaller gemstones of the same type. Each Dawn Incarnate keeps their own portion of the preserve as a court, examples of which are the Amethyst Tiger's Knoll or the Obsidian Eagle's Eyrie. Incarnates, holding much wisdom and knowledge, also have a variety of personalities, though generally have a lead personality. Because of their varied nature, audience with an incarnate can incur prices and puzzles. Some are obtuse and give riddles, while others are more straightforward. One incarnate in particular stands as a grim omen, an anomaly known as the Sapphire Wyvern, which was once thought to be from one of the 12 lost civilizations and lays dead and inert. The Speakers of the Ancestors stand as the ruling body of the city, candidates of whom are elected among the diaspora of these citizens they represent. Once chosen, they are set before 15 Dawn Incarnates, doing anything from responding to inquiries to being sent on a quest. The Incarnates choose to affirm them once they have completed this, as to guarantee they understand those 15 civilizations for which they govern. A speaker then holds office for 10 years before they either step down or stand election and trial once more. As a representative, their duty is to maintain internal stability, treating all equally under the law. Their responsibilities at times have put them at odds with the founding civilizations, generally in financial and conflict disputes, and are to maintain neutrality in such conflicts. Speakers' powers allow them to equally exert control over the Concord jewels, giving them the ability to deactivate all of them, leaving them stranded. Because they all hold equal power in these regards, it means that solutions will eventually be found. Speakers for the Ancestors are essential to the functioning of the city, their death or absence beginning to render the Citadel lifeless. Because of this, they are highly protected, even if many are renowned and powerful heroes themselves. One such pragmatic and shrewd speaker is known as Sholat, one of the founders and only remaining originator still holding her position. Sholat is a powerful brass dragon, who as threats loomed gathered a mighty force of adventurers in search of the legend of the Radiant Citadel. The Shield Bearers have been around since the founding of the Citadel, and are generally organized in groups of 4 to 6 members. These elite groups are sent to crisis locations, their only mission being to extract those in danger and not attacking unless assaulted first. The Shield Bearers are considered among the bravest and most heroic of the Citadel, and are made of adventurers generally from backgrounds such as folk heroes, soldiers, and outlanders. Arya, an assassin born into a family of freedom fighters, now leads the Shield Bearers, having climbed from squalor in the streets of her homeland. Remember that you can decide what you will, placing lost jewels anywhere you choose, and players can be introduced in a myriad of ways, whether as locals, founding residents, or sanctuary seekers. The Citadel is a great tool for connecting any D&D adventure, so get out there and create stories and traditions of your own in journeys to the Radiant Citadel. Thank you to everyone who have made it to this point. DMs and those players who enjoy spoilers, you can look forward to future videos as I prepare and explain each adventure. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, and maybe, if you really enjoyed it, even hit that little bell icon so you can stay up to date on my latest videos. You can also support me on Patreon, which is linked in the description below. I also want to give special thanks to Scanlan Shorthalt Music, an official album from Critical Role, from which the music in this video comes from, and links will be provided in the description. Big thanks go out to my one and only current patron, Vicar Book. Thank you, and all of you who have made it to the end of this video for the support.